Greetings and salutations, everybody. This is me, Jock, bringing you back some more Very Serious Customs Volume 2. Today we are looking at Jock. That's right, the RWS Railway Jock has been upgraded. This is already going to be controversial just because of who this character is and what I've turned him into, but basically, let me give you a summary. In the NNWRS universe, the universe all these models are set around after, there is no need for a miniature gauge railway or meter gauge. But basically, there were no real need for the Scarlowy or Arsdale railways, so they've all been up to standard gauge. All the engines are standard gauge. There was never narrow gauge or miniature. So as such, Jock and his friends obviously had to be upgraded into something standard gauge. And based on their wheel arrangements, I found them suitable candidates for bases. Jock's basis is now an LNR V2 designed by Sir Nigel Gresley. These engines were McTraffic designs, one of my favorite designs, simply because of how good they kind of looked. Mostly because they copied their looks from the A3s. Well, at the time, they were A1s, and slowly becoming A3s. But in terms of, how he looks decent. Still need to give him a stubbier front because that's a bit long, but it works. Out of his parts, I want to go into this, but out of his parts, several of them are standard parts. Because something I never went into was that with some of the customs, I kind of use standardization to help me get around, making them quicker. Firebox came from the Gordon. Cab design came from Gordon. Except for this bit, I believe. Actually, no, this was from the base Gordon. And his tender has inspired another new design sheet that I have, I believe. But other than that, most of the stuff I had to use for him in terms of color, etc. is new. He has some rust spots, mostly because Superglue hates yellow marker on cardboard for some reason. Like, it'll turn into some sort of rusty, icky, bubbly red. I don't know why, but it made it a bit harder to get it good yellow, but it works, and besides, the lines he would run on are very close to the sea, so I doubt that's good for any engine for long in terms of maintenance. But now we get into that part, his line. Basically, he runs a retractage that the Arsdale Railway would have already had in terms of the main overarching railway series lore. But instead of, having to have them run over the Little Western, taking away traffic from Duck and Oliver, because why would they need two tank engines to run services if they have giant engines? They would have their own little line built around a cutting, and would connect with the Little Western at Tidmouth, basically where a conjunction of lines would meet. That way preserving the need for Oliver and Duck on the Little Western, as it would be a branch. And the Arsdale Railway would actually serve as more of like a miniature main line stretching a few miles. Hence the need for the tender engines. And with that out of the way, let's do some size comparisons. First up, let's compare him to our foul-mouthed little shunter, Duncan. And as you can see, tank engine versus tender engine, it's no match, obviously. One's bound to be bigger, and in this case, Jock has gained his upgrades. He's had his growth spurt. Congratulations. And he fell over. Stop falling over. Gravity is not on his side. Okay, now we'll take a look at a shedmate of his, Mike, who has also been upgraded with a new basis. And again, you see that standard firebox and cab design I tell you guys about. I like the P1s. They're good mineral haulers. But yeah, as you can see, it's all mostly similar. And now we get onto another Gresley design, Gordon, after being rebuilt again with a new cab and the 5th rendition of the GNR tender. That's right, I made 5 of these. If you couldn't tell, I care for this guy a lot. And he still has the original frames and wheels. That is durability at its best. But yeah, here they are side by side. I like it. They both got freckles. That's cute. I don't know why that became a thing with some of them, but I like putting the freckles. But yeah, and in terms of personality, I guess I'd give him Scottish accent and have him keep some of his Railway Series personality. Except with a layer of timidity, if that is a word, but just, he'd be a bit timid. You know, being technically new. But with that being said, I don't have much else to say, so after this, I'm probably going to go write Chapter 3 for NNWRS. If you haven't an idea what that is, just check out one of my earlier videos. Basically a short. With that being said, this has been Dark Chaotix 1, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Goodbye.